We have a new movement tech. It's called Wallbounce and lets you wallbounce off objects that are so low that they were previously thought to be impossible to wallbounce off, which includes rampart walls. And after investigating them so deeply for this video, I think they're even more powerful than I initially thought. This is not the no-mo bounce I showed a while ago, where you could climb without storing your guns or abilities away. That was removed by Respawn, which means there's no conflict with the similar name of the new NOMA bounce. NOMA means no mantle. If you climb while holding a sideways input and also look at least 5 degrees into the direction of your sideways input, you will not mantle at the top and just sort of hang there for a bit. This already opens up some niche interactions, like peeking over some buildings without the risk of mantling, or allow for new climbing routes, and can even be combined with tap strafes for some really neat U-bound spots that were previously inaccessible, as Treeree showed in a recent video. But that's only the beginning. You might already be aware of using a pure sideways input to wall bounce off small objects. However, that stops working once the object becomes too small. NOMA bounces make even those possible. And crouch NOMA bounces push that even further. Crouch NOMA bounces were discovered on accident by a mobile minigun, and Jay the Yggdrasil then reverse engineered them. Go follow Jay on Twitter, he's responsible for so much innovation when it comes to movement tech in Apex and deserves everybody's attention. I'm gonna combine Jay's explanation with some things I figured out myself to teach you these. Level 1 is that you need to know how to fatigue bounce. Jump once. For the next 1.5 seconds, any following jump will be lower. That's jump fatigue. So jump once to activate jump fatigue, now hold forward towards the wall, start a climb with that forward input, and jump. While attached to the wall, let go of forward and jump again for the wall bounce. These can then be chained for infinite wall bounces, a detailed guide about that is in the description. Level 2 is how to combine fatigue bounces with the no mantle interaction. Start on this wall. With a height of 60 units, it's low enough that normal fatigue bounces with a sideways input already stop working, but not too low to make NOMA bounces too hard in the beginning. The biggest thing you need to pay attention to here is to not let go of forward the same way you do on a regular fatigue bounce. Just keep holding forward and sideways. And don't forget to look at least 5 degrees to the side, but already start practicing to not look too far to the side. There's no need for 45 degrees, because the shallower your angle to the wall is, the harder it will be to actually attach to the wall. So around 10 degrees is probably a safe angle to aim for. Practice this now, because this problem will only become more exacerbated on the next levels, like level 3, where you will upgrade to these blocks, which are a bit lower at 48 units. The most important tip for them is that it's way harder to touch the wall to initiate the fatigue bounce. With regular fatigue bounces and even the level 2, you can sprint towards the wall and then cram your face right into it before you bounce. On level 3, this is still possible, but the timing is very precise. So I recommend that you learn the correct distance between jumping off the ground and the bounce. Notice how I'm still moving a bit towards the wall between jumping and the bounce here. And developing a feeling for that movement towards the wall is important. That's why I would also suggest that once you start to hit them out of a standstill, that you already start experimenting with doing them out of walks and sprints. The more comfortable you feel on this level, the easier the next one will be. Also, legend height matters here. At level 2, on a height of 60 units, I can do them on all legends, even the tall ones. But on level 3 at 48 units, they are considerably easier on the small legends, so Wraith and Lifeline. They are much harder on medium legends, and on the big boys, I can't do them at all. So do yourself a favor and practice level 3 on Wraith and Lifeline. This will already open up so many more spots to wallbounce off that were previously thought to be impossible. To open up your brain to receive even more Moki movement knowledge in the future, you should subscribe. These walls are 46 units tall, and I suspect that 45 is the limit for the level 3 method. But we can go further, to level 4, by lowering the jump height even more by fatigue jumping out of a crouch. And beyond lowering the jump height, the crouch does a second thing. All legends have the same height when crouched. So not only is the crouch necessary to normal bounce off even lower objects, but is also necessary to make them even reliable movement tech at all on most legends. To practice crouch normal bounces, go run around and jump into a slide. While in the slide, add the sideways input. Jump out of the slide, let go of crouch and keep holding forward and sideways. Pay specific attention to letting go of crouch right after the jump. This is important. If you hold crouch while contacting the wall, it won't work. You can easily check if you correctly let go of crouch against tall walls without having to worry much about any of the other timings. If you climb or bounce off, you are letting go of crouch. Then place some rampart walls and attempt the same input sequence on them. Rampart walls are 40 units high, but so are these and a lot of similar railings which are everywhere in Apex. So even though crouch normal bounces still work on the 60 unit high walls from level 2 and on even lower objects like this box, which is just 35 units tall, 40 units is the main height you want to practice them on. Some tips for level 4. Try to not even wall bounce at first. Attaching to the wall and getting into the no mantle hang state is the hardest part. This will also reinforce how long you can actually stay in this. There's no need to rush the bounce after. You can just vibe there for a bit and still jump out of it for the full wall bounce distance. In combat, you often want to jump right off it, but for practice, who cares? Just figure it out at a slower pace. Little side note, this only works on the really low walls. If you try to hang in the no mantle state for too long on walls that are a bit higher, you won't get the bounce after. It helps so much to actually become consistent at level 3. Maybe don't move on to level 4 until you can pull off 3 or even 5 in a row on level 3. Try variations, like without a sprint, so there's less speed you have to worry about, or out of a standstill. With a crouch and no speed towards the wall, you can go back to doing them directly at the wall. This makes the timing for letting go of crouch a bit harder, but for some reason I started to get into the no mantle hang state a lot quicker this way and can now do these super reliably. And only after that did I hit my first one with a sprint towards the wall. And there are ways to actually use this during combat. To get some pot shots off by head glitching behind cover, only to yeet yourself away from it when you get pushed. I'm sure some of you will find the standstill ones way harder. Others might struggle with the sprint or walk method. So switch between them as you practice and use the one that brings you closer to actually getting consistent. For the version with a sprint towards the wall, you do need to jump out of the slide before you reach the wall. The timing between the length of the slide and how close to the wall you jump go hand in hand. As jump height decreases, the shorter the delay is between the first and second jump. So my theory right now is that the longer you stay in the slide, the closer to the wall you need to jump off. You can look at my clips, slow them down and study them, but that will only get you so far. There's not really a way around just going through the 4 levels and figuring out the timing that works for you. But it's so worth it. No more bounces. Break a limit for wall bounces that had been established and accepted by the community for 5 years at this point. I can't overstate how impactful I think this is. The lowest I've been able to do them off is a 35 unit high box. Wall bounces of a dinky little thing like this seem like out of a different universe. At this point, it's pretty clear that you enjoy my analytical approach to Apex movement and learning things in depth, which means you're also the perfect candidate for Brilliant, the learning platform where you learn by doing, which is today's sponsor. As you might know, we are developing the Apex movement wiki right now, so I'm currently doing the Thinking in Code course on Brilliant to get more into the mindset of a programmer, so I can better communicate my ideas to Legion, who's largely responsible for the programming of the movement wiki. And I like that Brilliant gives you a hand and picks you up at your level to build understanding from the ground up. Next to computer science, Brilliant also features thousands of other lessons on topics like scientific thinking, AI, math and many more. Each lesson is filled with hands-on problem solving that lets you play with concepts, a method proven to be 6 times more effective than watching lecture videos. Something they are really doubling down on with all the new courses they added. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/smokysniper or click on the link in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription.